Imagine a small Danish town in the early 1930s. The world is still reeling from the Great Depression. Money is scarce, families are struggling, and the future feels uncertain. In the tiny town of Billund, a carpenter named Ole Kirk Christensen is trying to hold his life together. Ole isn't just any carpenter. He's a man of faith, discipline, and quiet determination. He builds sturdy furniture, houses, and even ladders for the farmers around town. But when the global economy crashes, his customers stop ordering. The big projects dry up, and suddenly, Ole faces a terrifying question. How do you survive when no one can afford what you make? But Ole isn't the kind of man who gives up. Instead of despairing, he starts looking around his workshop for possibilities. He notices small scraps of wood, pieces that would normally go to waste. And then a thought strikes him. What if I use these scraps to make toys? At first, it's just a survival tactic. He carves little wooden ducks, miniature trucks, and pull-along animals. The toys are simple but carefully made. He sands them smooth, paints them by hand, and tests them with his own children. Soon, word spreads around Billund. Families who can't afford big luxuries still want something small to bring joy to their kids. And just like that, Ole finds a new calling. But life doesn't make it easy for him. In 1929, Ole's wife passes away, leaving him with 4 young sons to raise alone. He pours himself into his work, trying to be both father and provider. Some nights, he carves toys by candlelight, long after the children have gone to bed. The workshop becomes more than a workplace. It becomes a lifeline. In 1932, Ole officially founds his company. He gives it a simple name, Lego. It's derived from the Danish words leg godt, meaning play well. Little does he know, this name will one day echo across the globe. But back then, the future is anything but certain. The Great Depression is still crushing Europe. Toys are not a necessity, and money is painfully tight. Some neighbors even laugh at Ole. Who's going to buy wooden toys when people can barely afford food? They ask, and yet Ole believes in 2 things, quality and play. Only the best is good enough, he tells his sons, a motto that will guide Lego for generations. But fate isn't done testing him. In 1942, disaster strikes. A fire rips through his workshop, burning everything to the ground. Years of hard work, every design, every tool, every dream, turned to ashes overnight. For many men, this would be the end, but not for Ole. Standing in the smoldering ruins, he makes a decision that will define Lego forever. We will rebuild. And he does. Piece by piece, brick by brick, Ole and his sons restart the business. This time, they don't just build toys, they build resilience. What Ole doesn't know yet is that an even bigger revolution is on the horizon. A new material is about to change the toy industry forever. Something stronger, more versatile, more colorful than wood, plastic. And Lego is about to gamble its entire future on it. It's the late 1940s. Europe is recovering from the devastation of World War II. Factories are rebuilding, families are starting over, and new technologies are creeping into everyday life. In Billund, Denmark, Ole Kirk Christiansen and his sons are also rebuilding, not just their workshop, but their future. And then, something unusual arrives. A salesman introduces Ole to a strange new material, plastic. At the time, most toy makers consider plastic cheap and unreliable. Toys are made of wood, tin, or metal. Sturdy materials parents trust. Plastic, it feels lightweight, fragile, even disposable. No serious craftsman would stake his business on it. But Ole sees something others don't. He imagines toys that aren't bound by the limitations of wood. Toys that could be molded into any shape, with colors that never fade, and designs that could fit together in ways wood never could. In 1947, Lego invests in its very first plastic injection molding machine, one of the first in Denmark. It's an expensive, risky decision for such a small company. Many think Ole has lost his mind. Why abandon the tradition of wood for this untested material? At first, the results don't inspire confidence. The early plastic toys feel brittle, the molds imperfect. Parents aren't convinced. Sales remain small. But Ole is patient. He knows revolutions don't happen overnight. In 1949, Lego introduces something new. Automatic binding bricks. They look simple. Small, hollow plastic blocks with little studs on top. You can stack them, but they don't yet lock firmly in place. The idea is clever, but not fully realized. Children enjoy them, but the bricks often fall apart too easily. Still, Ole doesn't give up. He and his team refine the design, searching for the perfect balance of grip and release. And then, in 1958, they strike gold. That year, Lego patents the design that will change play forever, the modern Lego brick. With its precise interlocking stud and tube system, the brick clicks together with a satisfying snap, firm enough to hold, yet easy enough to separate. Suddenly, the possibilities are endless. A child could build not just a house or a car, but an entire city, a castle, even a universe, all from a handful of colorful bricks. It is a breakthrough so simple yet so powerful that it will outlive its inventor. Tragically, the same year the modern brick is patented, Ole Kirk Christensen passes away. He never lives to see just how far his invention will go. Leadership of LEGO now falls to his son, Gottfried Kirk Christensen. Unlike his father, Gottfried is not just a craftsman, he's a visionary businessman, and he understands something critical. The LEGO brick is not just a toy, it's a system. In 1955, before Roll's passing, Gottfried had already been sketching out an ambitious idea, the LEGO system of play. Instead of random toys, LEGO would create a world where every piece connected with every other piece. Buy one set, and it expands another. A fire truck connects to a police station, which connects to a house, which connects to a town. Suddenly, LEGO isn't selling toys, it's selling imagination with no boundaries. And children respond. Throughout the late 1950s and 1960s, LEGO expands rapidly across Europe. Sets become more detailed, bricks more diverse. What began as a carpenter's wooden duck has now evolved into a universal building language. But with success comes new challenges. Competitors begin copying the brick design, flooding markets with cheap knockoffs. Some look nearly identical, confusing customers. LEGO is forced into legal battles to defend its patents. For a small Danish company, fighting global imitators is daunting, yet LEGO has one advantage others cannot copy: its philosophy. Hull's motto, "Only the best is good enough," remains the company's heartbeat. LEGO refuses to cut corners. Their bricks are manufactured with microscopic precision, so pieces made in 1960 will still fit perfectly with pieces made today. That consistency builds trust and loyalty. By the end of the 1960s, LEGO is no longer just a Danish brand. It's a European sensation. The little brick that once seemed like a foolish gamble has become the foundation of a growing empire. But LEGO's ambitions don't stop at Europe. The world is vast, and children everywhere are hungry for play. And soon, LEGO will make its leap across the Atlantic. By the late 1960s, LEGO has already conquered Denmark and much of Europe. Children everywhere are stacking, clicking, and creating entire worlds out of those little plastic bricks. But inside the Christensen family, one question keeps coming up. If our bricks can inspire kids here, why not the rest of the world? The next frontier is obvious: America. In 1973, LEGO officially launches in the United States. It isn't easy. American toy shelves are already crowded with giants like Mattel, Hasbro, and Fisher-Price. Plastic toys are everywhere, from Barbie dolls to G.I. Joe action figures. LEGO is the new kid on the block. And at first, many retailers are skeptical. Building blocks? Don't American kids already have those? But LEGO isn't just selling blocks. It's selling an idea. The company runs bold marketing campaigns, highlighting not just the toy, but what it represents: creativity, imagination, freedom. Unlike most toys that tell children what to play, LEGO lets them decide. A box of bricks could become a spaceship, a skyscraper, or a dragon. The only limit is the child's mind. And slowly, America starts to listen. By the mid-1970s, LEGO has become one of the fastest growing toy brands in the US. What started as a small carpenter's side project in Denmark is now sitting on toy shelves in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. But LEGO isn't just expanding in sales, it's expanding in vision. In 1968, even before the American breakthrough, LEGO had opened something groundbreaking back in Denmark, Legoland, a theme park unlike any other, where miniature worlds built entirely of LEGO bricks came to life. Castles, trains, cities, all built to scale, all made from millions of colorful pieces. Families didn't just buy LEGO anymore, they visited LEGO, they experienced LEGO. Legoland's success sparks a bold realization. LEGO isn't just a toy company, it's a brand that can stretch into experiences, education, and culture itself. Through the 1970s and 1980s, LEGO keeps innovating. New themes arrive. LEGO trains, LEGO castles, LEGO space. Suddenly, kids aren't just building random houses, right? They're creating entire universes. The space sets, launched in 1978, especially capture imaginations. With astronauts, rockets, and futuristic vehicles, LEGO finds itself riding the wave of a global fascination with outer space. And yet, as LEGO grows, it faces new dilemmas. How do you stay fresh without losing your identity? How do you expand while keeping that same promise of quality? The Christensens double down on their philosophy. Every brick must still connect perfectly, whether made in Denmark, America, or anywhere else. Every set must challenge children to imagine. By the 1980s, LEGO is a household name on both sides of the Atlantic. It's no longer just a toy, it's becoming a rite of passage. Millions of children grow up with that same familiar sound. The click of a brick locking into place, followed by hours of endless storytelling. But LEGO is about to take things even further. In 1978, the company introduces something small, yellow, and revolutionary: the minifigure. At first glance, it seems almost silly, a tiny, smiling plastic person with a round head and a simple body. But the minifigure transforms LEGO forever. For the first time, children don't just build environments, they populate them. Castles now have knights. Space stations now have astronauts. Cities now have citizens. Lego worlds come alive, and the world falls in love with them. By the end of the 1980s, Lego isn't just surviving, it's thriving. Sales are booming, Legoland parks are expanding, and the brand has become synonymous with creativity. Lego bricks are everywhere, in classrooms and living rooms, even in art exhibitions. From a small wooden duck to a global empire, Lego has traveled far. But as the 1990s dawn, dark clouds are on the horizon. Competition is fierce, children's attention spans are changing, and technology is about to disrupt play forever. For Lego, the next chapter will be its hardest yet. The 1990s should have been a golden age for Lego. By now, the company was everywhere. Europe, America, Asia, Lego castles, Lego space stations, Lego pirate ships. Children all over the world were growing up surrounded by bricks and minifigures. The brand was trusted, beloved, iconic, and yet, behind the colorful boxes and smiling characters, storm clouds were gathering. The first challenge came from technology. The 1990s saw an explosion of video games and electronic entertainment. Nintendo, Sega, and later PlayStation were pulling millions of children away from traditional toys. Why spend hours building with bricks when you could enter a fully digital world at the push of a button? At Lego headquarters in Billund, executives grew nervous. For decades, the brick had been enough. But now, was it becoming old-fashioned? In response, Lego made a bold move: diversification. They launched new product lines that strayed far from the classic brick system. Action figures, dolls, clothing, watches, even theme parks outside Denmark. They poured money into video games, computer software, and experiments that tried to make Lego cool for a digital generation. But instead of saving the company, these moves almost destroyed it. By the late 1990s, Lego was bleeding money. Many of the new products weren't successful. The clothing line fizzled. The action figures lacked the charm of minifigures. The theme parks drained resources. Even the video games were inconsistent. Some fun, others forgettable. The biggest mistake? Losing focus. For decades, Lego's magic had been its simplicity, a system of play where every brick connected to every other. But in chasing trends, Lego created products that no longer fit together, literally and figuratively. The company had forgotten its own motto: only the best is good enough. And the numbers were brutal. By 2003, Lego reported some of its worst financial results in history. Sales had collapsed. The company was drowning in debt. Analysts whispered what once seemed unthinkable: Lego might go bankrupt. For the Christensen family, who still owned the business, it was devastating. The empire Ole Kirk had built from scraps of wood was on the verge of crumbling. But out of crisis came clarity. In 2004, Lego made one of the boldest decisions in its history. For the first time, the company brought in an outsider CEO, not a member of the Christensen family. His name was Jürgen Vig Knudstorp, a former McKinsey consultant. Young, analytical, and brutally honest, Knudstorp didn't sugarcoat the situation. "We are on a burning platform," he told employees. "Lego will not survive unless we change." The turnaround began immediately. Knudstorp slashed unprofitable product lines. The clothing? Gone. The confusing off-brand toys? Cut. Even Legoland parks were sold off to reduce debt. Lego would no longer chase every trend. It would return to its roots: the brick, the system, the imagination. At the same time, Knudstorp pushed for smarter collaborations. Instead of making generic space sets, why not partner with cultural icons? In 1999, Lego had already dipped its toes into licensed themes with Star Wars. It was a hit. Now Lego doubled down: Harry Potter, Spider-Man, Batman. Suddenly, Lego wasn't competing with pop culture. It was pop culture, and it worked. Children returned to Lego in droves. Parents, nostalgic for their own childhood bricks, introduced Lego to a new generation. The company clawed its way back from the brink. By the mid-2000s, profits were rising again, but the comeback story was far from complete. Because Lego wasn't just going to survive. It was about to reinvent itself as something much bigger than toys. The crisis had tested Lego to its core, and in rebuilding, it rediscovered its soul. The mid-2000s mark a turning point. Lego has survived its near-death crisis, but survival isn't enough. If the brand is going to thrive in a world dominated by video games, smartphones, and blockbuster movies, it has to do more than just sell bricks. It has to become culture itself. The first clue comes from something surprising: partnerships. Back in 1999, Lego released its first Star Wars sets. Spaceships, lightsabers, minifigure Jedi. Fans loved them. Kids bought them. Even adults. Well, lifelong Star Wars collectors couldn't resist. It was the proof Lego needed. Iconic stories and Lego bricks were a perfect match, so Lego doubled down. Soon came Harry Potter sets, letting children build Hogwarts brick by brick. Then Batman, Spider-Man, Indiana Jones, The Lord of the Rings. Each collaboration wasn't just a toy, it was an invitation to step inside your favorite universe and build it yourself. But Lego wasn't content to just borrow stories. It wanted to tell its own. In 2014, the world watched something no one expected: the Lego Movie. At first, critics scoffed. A movie based on plastic bricks? Surely it would be nothing more than a glorified commercial. They were wrong. The Lego Movie turned out to be a smart, funny, and surprisingly heartfelt film. With its message, everything is awesome when we work together, the movie captured not just kids, but parents, teens, even film critics. It was a box office hit. Suddenly, Lego wasn't just a toy. It was Hollywood. The movie's success cemented Lego's rebirth. Sequels, spin-offs, and even more brand collaborations followed. Lego had discovered the secret to thriving in the 21st century. Don't compete with culture. Be part of it. Meanwhile, Lego was also embracing something else: adult fans. For years, Lego had been seen mainly as a children's toy. But online communities revealed a massive, passionate group of grown-ups who had never stopped building. Architects, engineers, artists. People who used Lego as a medium for creativity and expression. Lego leaned in. They launched the Lego Ideas platform where fans could submit designs, and if enough people voted, Lego would turn them into real sets. Iconic fan-made projects like the NASA Apollo Saturn V rocket and the Friends Central Perk Cafe became official Lego products. Suddenly, Lego wasn't just for kids anymore. It was for everyone. Financially, the results were staggering. From near bankruptcy in 2003, Lego became the world's most profitable toy company by the mid-2010s. Revenues soared. Its brand value overtook Mattel, Hasbro, and nearly every rival. And through it all, Lego never abandoned its DNA. At the heart of every success, movies, collaborations, fan projects, was still the same interlocking brick, patented back in 1958. But Lego's journey wasn't just about money or sets. It was about identity. For generations, Lego had stood for something bigger than toys: creativity, imagination, the power to build anything. Now, as the 2010s rolled on, Lego faced a new question. How do you keep that spirit alive in a digital-first world? The answer was coming, not just in plastic bricks, but in apps, video games, augmented reality, and even educational robotics. Lego wasn't done evolving. Its empire was just entering a new dimension. By the 2010s, Lego had reclaimed its throne as the king of toys. The brand was stronger than ever, the movies had made Lego cool again, and collaborations with pop culture icons were keeping sales sky high. But there was no time to relax. Because outside the world of plastic bricks, play itself was changing. Children were spending more hours on screens than on physical toys. Smartphones, tablets, and online games weren't just entertainment anymore. They were lifestyles. And if Lego was going to stay relevant, it couldn't just be a box on a shelf. It had to meet kids where they were, in the digital world. The shift had already begun years earlier. In 1997, Lego launched its first major hit video game, Lego Island. It wasn't perfect, but it introduced the idea that Lego could live inside a computer screen. The real breakthrough, however, came in the 2000s with the Lego Star Wars video games. These games were brilliant. They took the magic of Star Wars, mixed it with Lego humor and creativity, and let players explore digital worlds where everything was made of bricks. Suddenly, Lego wasn't competing with video games. It was video games. The formula worked so well that Lego games became a franchise of their own. Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Batman, Lego Marvel, Lego Harry Potter. Each one brought in new fans, many of whom had never even touched a real Lego brick. But Lego didn't stop there. They began experimenting with STEM education, introducing Lego Mindstorms, a line that combined bricks with robotics and coding. With Mindstorms, children weren't just building toys, they were programming robots, designing machines, and learning the basics of engineering. Schools and universities started adopting Lego kits as teaching tools, making Lego not just fun, but educational. In classrooms across the world, students were building robots that could walk, sort objects, or even compete in challenges. Lego wasn't just shaping childhood anymore. It was shaping the next generation of scientists and engineers. Then came augmented reality, AR. Lego introduced sets that interacted with apps, where kids could see their creations come to life on a tablet screen. Imagine building a haunted house from Lego bricks, and pointing your phone at it to see digital ghosts floating around. The physical and digital merged into one seamless play experience. But perhaps Lego's boldest digital experiment was embracing community. Through online platforms, fans could share their builds, vote on projects, and even design future Lego sets. The result? A global conversation where creativity flowed nonstop. From a teenager designing a futuristic spaceship in Brazil to an engineer in Germany building a scale model of the Eiffel Tower. For Lego, this digital expansion wasn't about abandoning the brick. It was about proving the brick's versatility. Whether in your hands, on your screen, or in a classroom robot, Lego remained the foundation. Financially, it worked wonders. Lego's sales skyrocketed, and its reach expanded into places traditional toys could never go. By blending the physical and digital, Lego managed to do what many toy companies could not: stay relevant in a world where children's attention spans were constantly shifting. But success in the digital age also raised new challenges. Could LEGO keep innovating without losing its identity? Could it balance being a toy, a game, an educational tool, and a cultural icon all at once? The answers would unfold in the coming years, as LEGO continued to grow from a simple toy company into something much bigger, a symbol of imagination across every medium. From a carpenter's workshop, to your living room, to your video game console, LEGO had built not just toys, but a universe, and its story wasn't finished yet. The empire was still expanding. By the dawn of the 2020s, LEGO stood tall as the most valuable toy company in the world. From near bankruptcy in 2003, the company had transformed into a global empire worth billions, with its products sold in more than 140 countries. Every second, thousands of LEGO bricks were being clicked together somewhere on Earth. But LEGO's success wasn't just measured in sales, it was measured in meaning. For millions of people, children and adults alike, LEGO had become more than a toy. It was nostalgia, creativity, therapy, art, and culture all rolled into one. LEGO was a symbol of possibility, and yet, even as LEGO conquered the world, it faced new challenges. The first was sustainability. Every year, LEGO produced billions of plastic bricks. In a world increasingly concerned about the environment, questions arose. How can a company built on plastic survive in a future that demands green solutions? LEGO listened. In 2018, the company introduced its first plant-based plastic bricks, made from sugarcane. Small steps, leaves, trees, and bushes were the first elements to go green. By 2030, LEGO pledged every single brick would be sustainable. They also invested heavily in recycling programs and renewable energy. In fact, LEGO reached a milestone when it produced as much renewable energy as it consumed, thanks to massive investments in wind power. For a toy company, it was a bold declaration: we build for the future, not just for today. The second challenge was global culture. LEGO had always been about imagination, but the 2020s demanded inclusivity, diversity, and connection across borders. So, LEGO sets began to reflect the world more accurately. Characters with different skin tones, genders, and abilities. There were LEGO minifigures in wheelchairs, sets celebrating different cultures, even collaborations with organizations promoting education for all. The third challenge? Staying relevant in a world of endless entertainment, streaming, TikTok, Fortnite, AI. Kids in the 2020s had more distractions than ever before, but LEGO leaned into its strength, timeless creativity. It partnered with Netflix, Stranger Things, Nintendo Super Mario, and even Adidas LEGO sneakers. LEGO sets weren't just toys anymore. They were collectibles, fashion statements, and cultural artifacts. And for adults, LEGO became something even bigger. Stress relief sets like the LEGO bonsai tree or LEGO flower bouquet weren't marketed to kids at all. They were designed for grown-ups looking for mindfulness, relaxation, and beauty. The message was clear. LEGO isn't just a toy. It's a lifelong companion. Financially, the results were staggering. By 2022, LEGO's revenues had reached record highs, making it the undisputed giant of the toy industry. Its brand value rivaled that of companies far outside the toy market: Apple, Disney, Nike. But perhaps the most remarkable thing was this. Despite all the changes, the core never shifted. At the heart of LEGO's empire was still the same simple brick, patented in 1958. A brick that could connect across generations, across cultures, across time, from Ole Kurt Christensen's tiny workshop in Billund, to children stacking towers in Tokyo, New York, Nairobi, and Sao Paulo, to massive LEGO exhibitions, art projects, movies, and theme parks. LEGO had built more than a toy company. It had built a legacy that reminded the world of a simple truth. When you give people the right pieces, they can build anything. So the story continues. The empire is not finished, because as long as there are children who dream and adults who remember, LEGO will always be there, one brick at a time.